Welcome to our S&OP Ask the Expert series.
Doug, today's question is, what data is critical for S&OP?
Wow, this is a tough question to answer in just a couple minutes, but I'll try to do justice to that while we're going through these Ask the Expert series. So, for me, when I think about data, it all comes back to thinking about what is the story of what's going on in a particular family. For most products, you're going to have some strategic objectives you're trying to achieve. This might be growth, it might be maintaining market share, it might be new product launch, it might be SKU rationalization, or it just might be trying to maintain just a steady state sales. So you're going to have some strategic objective that you're trying to achieve. And the data that gets pulled together for the executive S&OP needs to support a story that answers these fundamental questions about where we're going with the family. And I can look at it this way. Number one, are we tracking to our strategic objectives? Service level improvement, growth, whatever that happens to be. Do we actually have a plan that's going to get us there? That means, do we have a sales forecast, an operations plan? Do we have capability? Do we have an inventory plan that's actually going to help us achieve those objectives? So it's got to be actionable. Are the actions that we're taking actually moving us towards that plan? Are we taking the steps in the right direction? Are we delivering on what we've actually planned for? This is pretty important. We can put all the plans we want together, but if we're actually not delivering on those plans, in other words, the demand plan, the booking plan isn't getting achieved, we're not getting the orders in, or production is unable to meet the production plan, we got to kind of question the plan and the assumptions that are around that. And so if we're not, then we got to understand why and why not. What are those assumptions that are baked into the plan? That's really got to be uncovered as part of that data. And then what risks should we be concerned about? And finally, this is the one thing that the data needs to be able to show us is, are we in control of the business? This is the one the executive really wants to look at and say, are we in control or are we just lucky every time? So this is a lot to get out of data. And so let's just quickly look at what is the data that will help us achieve this. And I think of three things in this. First, we have to provide context for any data that we pull together. Second, that data has to all come together for a family into one kind of complete picture or story. And really the third thing is, I really strongly recommend that you pull that data together into a standard format. So let me just look at those three things real quickly here. So we have to provide context for the data. So what do I mean by that? Well, we want to provide a historical context, really is that historical performance. And then we also want to look at our S&OP plan in comparison to what our last S&OP plan is. How much are we changing the plan month by month? That context is a really good way for us to understand what are the risks in the plan. For example, if your supply plan is here, historically that's where you've been producing at this level, and the next month's plan looks up here, right away there's a bit of a red flag that goes off. What's changing from the month we just came out of to the month that we're going into that's going to hit the plan? And so that's kind of looking at where are we putting those changes into the plan. The other piece of that is looking at the historical view and really kind of comparing that to understand, does the forward-looking plan really match up to the historical side? So that's the context. Now we actually need to pull all of the data together to get a complete story for the family. And this is really the data that I need for this is my demand data, which is my bookings. I need to have my shipment data, which is the shipment plan that comes out of S&OP. Between those two, I've got my open orders or my backlog. So we've got order inflow bookings, order outflow shipments. The backlog is kind of the balancing between those two. Then I also want to include my production. So my production capability is an important part of that. So I've got my production plan. It needs to be underneath what my capability is. And then the final piece of that plan is the inventory plan. And I can project that going forward, because I now have a shipment plan and a production plan, the difference between those two is the inventory. So we're pulling all of that plan together really to present the whole story. So that data, we need all of those pieces of data I just talked about to pull that story together. And then I really recommend, really my third point is provide that in a standard format that works. I've already mentioned this. We pull this together into something called the 5-section sheet, right? 5 sections: booking, shipments, backlog, production, and inventory. Those are the 5 sections. And it pulls this all together and presents a story of what's going on. The nice thing about doing this is it will present a story of where you're at. It may not be the story that you want to see, but because the math has to all make sense when you pull that together, it will be an undeniable story of, do I have a balanced plan that's driving me to my strategic objectives? So hopefully that kind of helps. I didn't go into all kinds of detail about exactly each piece of those elements of that data. However, if you think about providing the context for your data, getting all of the data that we need to pull together to get the full story, and then using a standard format, if you do that, that will really help create an effective S&OP process. Thank you, and hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today's video. Subscribe to our channel for more on implementing S&OP. You can learn more about how DBM can take your process to the next level by visiting our website, www.dbmsys.com. Thank you and take care.